I
headed up.
saw a picture of somebody in a face mask with a Hello Kitty helmet and a hockey stick whacking smoke bombs, and I was like, "Oh, I wonder if Andy is nearby that
Yeah,
tomfoolery and fun."
Yeah.
I parked so far away that I couldn't get to my props. And I figured it was better to be about 10 blocks away from what I heard. And
Uh-huh. Yeah, I'm about 10 blocks away from your microphone right now.
Oh, Jesus. There we go. Bad lighting here.
They're good. Having a frozen drink and a
Oops.
Mr. Boobs glass.
Oh, nice. Wow.
Starting off right, I think. Cheers, guys.
Cheers, fellas. I'm
Time
pouring.
will tell.
Happy final day of the English Premier League season.
Is it? Wow.
Yeah,
Sure
I mean,
went
I
by
know you
quickly.
guys were on the edge of your seats, but it turns out Bournemouth and Watford got relegated, and Aston Villa stayed up. I know you guys, you were on the edge of your seats for weeks and weeks, but that's how it worked out.
Why do they even
It's a
play the games? Just relic, give them their titles.
Well, it's fun.
Well, Liverpool got their title. It was just like a week
Liverpool
ago.
got the title. Liverpool won the title.
Did they go with the cardboard cutout of people?
No, they didn't put people in the stands.
Did they
Did
pump
they
in
use
noise?
the
They
fake
pumped in
crowd
noise.
Yeah.
They pumped in noise, but you could also you could watch it without the pumped in noise on their website.
Uh-huh.
I tried baseball the other day, and after a little while, I go, "Wait, is that fake fucking crowd hiss?" And I asked Jovi, and he goes, "Yeah." And I go, "I guess it'd be really boring without a little bit of background
Yeah.
noise."
It's a little bit like a Zoom comedy show. Like you start to realize that, oh, this is actually not entertaining at all.
We have the technology, but we should abandon it. There's no
Yeah.
reason we should do this.
Ah,
It'd be
yeah,
like one of
comedy
the Little League
sucks.
games.
Now I get it. Yeah.
You could hear the one person yelling, like at a Little League or a Pony League game. It's
Uh-huh.
I
get a lot of
I
reading.
feel like it's kind of comforting to know it's on and I don't give a shit to watch it. Just like every other baseball season.
Yeah.
God damn it. I used to
Yeah.
like, I don't know. I followed it as a kid and but man, I guess it's like religion. I followed that as a kid too. And look how that worked out. Eventually you realize, I'm not really that interested in this shit.
One by one, I watched myself just fucking get the same way with every sport. Like, oh, I didn't like NASCAR. I just liked a reason to drink early on Sunday. Like, it was fucking every
I'm
one of
with
them.
you.
I tried to watch
That's-
a little UFC that was last night, and it's good. It's better because there's no crowds, but it's still if you can fast forward through everything except the fights, they're still doing that thing where they get to fight tomorrow, but they have to do this thing today, and then they pretend they want to fight each other, even though they don't make any money if they fight on Friday. If they just wait tomorrow, they can fucking beat each other up and get paid for it. And the only person that appeals to is fucking fake wrestling fans, and it annoys me that.
I liked how Tyson did those. He'd sometimes fight in them.
Yeah, I think Holmes and Larry Holmes did that too. Was that with Larry Holmes? Went after somebody.
Yeah.
It seems like
There was that great video of him jumping off. He was doing like
he jumped on
Chuck
a car.
Norris shit.
Yeah, he jumped over a car and attacked somebody. That's
I
what
want
it
to
was.
say Mitch Blood Green, but I know his name comes up and scuffles a lot.
I think that might be right.
Yeah.
Damn, Andy, nicely done.
Well, I might be wrong. It might be
Yeah.
Ernie. It could have been Ernie Hudson.
That
I don't hear you,
sounds like
Shaylee.
he's from Coquille.
Yeah, Shaylee dropped out a little bit.
And he's talking about Coquille and he disappeared. That happens a lot.
Oh, did anybody watch that documentary?
I haven't gotten a chance to watch it
I
yet.
got it. I just called my friend Neil, whose dad was the police chief, before this guy, and he wasn't there during the murder.
Uh-huh.
So he didn't have any, input. But it's like, there's no way that, I mean, that kid did I did all the same shit,
Let's hold off.
Had a-
Let's hold off.
yeah,
We gotta. First of all, we gotta give a little background. People
We
have no
gotta
idea
prep
what
some
we're
of
talking
it.
about.
yeah.
So Chad sent out on our. We have a little text chain that we're all on, and Chad sent us a YouTube link to ABC 2020 episode that was about
Yeah.
a murder in Coquille, Oregon, in the late 70s or early 80s.
80s.
And
No, it was in
Or
2000.
no, yeah, it was in the
2000. All right.
Yeah, yeah,
See, I haven't had a
yeah.
chance to watch it yet.
I
So
think
I want to
maybe-
watch it first before we even talk about this. Can we
All
just
right.
can we just skip over it? Because I honestly I
Let's
wanted
skip
to
it.
have
Let's
yeah,
skip it.
I want to watch it first because when we do, we'll do a deep dive on it. I think that's
There's so many.
Yeah.
I'll say the reason I found it is because the chief of police, Coquille, at the time, that's getting sued right now, is the current Cochise County Sheriff where we live. That was why this
really?
got onto my radar at all.
All right.
And then all of a
Did
sudden,
that
I'm reading it, I'm checking it out, and it's like, anyway, we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
All right. Good. I'll watch
Yeah.
it. I'll watch it. So we'll try to do that for the next
All
one.
right,
And then
so this is-
if
it's
people
called-
see this one, they can find it
Watch along.
and watch it before we talk about it, so they know what we're talking about too.
It's called
The
Last Seen
BC
Walking.
2020. Yep, called Last Seen Walking. Thanks,
And
Shaylee.
it's,
Although we can
it's
still barely hear
available-
Yeah,
you.
it's kind of. I remember it happening. I remember, that the speculation and shit. And I know that town, so if people aren't going to change their opinion about anything. Whatever their opinion is that they have, that's what they have. They can't change it. It's stuck with them. And so if you think somebody's guilty, he's guilty, and all that shit. Yeah, there wasn't as many familiar faces. But I will say this on the kids' behalf: some of the
Look, we're
behaviors-
just excited.
Oh,
We weren't going to have this discussion. You're jumping the gun here. I haven't
We're
seen it. I don't
We're
know anything about what you're
All right.
talking about right
Everybody pause right now and go watch it. We'll be right
Yeah,
back. We'll wait.
Hang on.
We're
I'm gonna have a drink.
We'll be back in 2 and 2.
We've got a lot more to talk about tonight anyway, because we've got to talk about these things while they're fresh in the mind. We can come back to this 2020 episode, but
It's a cold case.
But it's a cold case. It'll be a
it's
hot,
not gonna
cold
get-
episode.
It's not gonna get any
Right.
warmer.
I want to dive right into Andy Andrus Saturday night and on the battle lines, on the
did
front
you
lines
go,
of
Andy?
the battle.
Yeah. I went to the Portland riots. It's I mean, it's cool to go see it all because you see it on the news and stuff, and then to go, oh, okay, here's where the ladies are, the mothers and everything. But it's like a fucking Renaissance fair, drum circle, and people chanting and shit, like a lot of stuff that I don't like.
Right.
But it's kind of fun, it's like it's like you want to have some protection. Like I had a baseball batting helmet that I just left in the car because I decided it was going to be too hot. But people were dressed like fucking Darth Vader, taped up and shit. And and the coolest shield I saw was like eight or 10 license plates all somehow affixed together, so it was a shield of license plates. But it was like kind of I don't, it's like, fuck, I don't know what we're hoping to achieve by taking over are we trying to overthrow the federal building? I couldn't quite figure out what we were trying to do other than
It was just a Comic-Con is all it was.
Well, I mean, that's actually true. There wasn't anything happening there other than, some Comic-Con style nerds putting graffiti on the Portland courthouse, and then the federal government deciding they needed to use that as an excuse and as an example to send in a whole bunch of troops, which are immediately, for sure, especially since they're Blackwater, trained, they're not even actually affiliated with the government. They're just,
nobody knows what
these
the
weird
fuck they
Homeland
are.
Security guys.
Dirty shit, man.
So of course that's going to amp up the intensity.
Absolutely.
And then you're going to get the fucking riots that the side who sent the troops in predicted would happen if you sent the troops in. It's like, well, that was very a self-fulfilling thing, and now we're dealing with it.
I took a picture or a little video of the food pit. There's like a park across the street, and that's just where it's like homeless people and Renaissance, heroes, super. It's like remember Kick-Ass 2. There's a lot of those characters walking around, and and everybody was like, and then there's this big pit with about probably 20 barbecues all in a lined out, and guys slinging hot dogs and stuff. I was like, shit, man, it's like these guys are, it's like it's cool that they're doing that. But it's like I was gonna show up for this thing without a hot dog. And then we're in the middle of a fucking pandemic, and then there's 6 boxes of yellow anti-Trump shirts that just show up mysteriously, and people are digging through them. I'm like, yeah, you guys don't know how this shit works, man. That's the first thing that they would.
Wait, did you think that they should have had a merch booth set up in the corner where they're actually like?
Well, let's not
like
lose our
smallpox
fucking.
blankets, yeah.
Let's not lose our with the escalating death count and COVID. Let's not lose our heads for a free T-shirt.
Well, that they probably singled out, hit the guys in the yellow shirts first.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, the moms wear yellow. So here's the thing too: is I saw way up the street from where the courthouse was, like 3 blocks, I think it is, to the waterfront. I saw all this action down there, and I was like, oh fuck, here come the goons. So I head down that way, and as I get closer, it's all the yellow shirt moms, and I go over there to smoke my vape pen out of kind of out and hanging out by the waterfront, because
Sure.
I figure, well shit, I've been down the drum circle marching around with all the other people yelling, and I didn't yell, I couldn't
Plus,
think of
you're not going to be able to score a hot mom if you're not hanging out with the wall of moms. I mean,
Right.
that's where the
gotta be in it to win it.
that's
I would
exactly
have yelled something at the federal courthouse if I thought I could have got a laugh,
right.
but I just couldn't think of anything. And so I was hanging out down there and smoking. And then I was watching these mothers and shit. It's kind of like a roller derby vibe to it, but I'm sure they're not roller derby moms, but they become roller derby moms because the fucking black ops have fucking hit them with grenades and shit. So they were talking about ways to get the fucking stain out of shit and how to get the gas and what the rinse.
Passing Tide Pen secret.
You're protesting with Heloise?
Yeah, and I looked at those ladies and I was like, they're wearing bike helmets with "fuck Trump" on them and stuff, and thinking, man, these bitches really got bailed out of their regular lives, as they were probably about ready to get the kid back to school shopping and everything, and now they're fucking on the front line protecting anarchists and
so much more exciting than taking the stupid kid back to Target to get jeans. Live your stupid life.
I kept ending up with the drag queen guy. I mean, I was videotaping, but it was like
convenient.
Some things never change.
Yeah, it was like the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Wall of Queens.
Yeah,
it's almost like you have a type.
I'm a alpha. I'm a fucking twisted alpha. But yeah, it was so I left about a 11:45, and then from what I read is there's about a 10-20 foot gap, no, about 10 feet between the courthouse and the fence, and they lobbed out tear gas into that area.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of that video.
Wow, you were in the shit.
Yeah, so it's like, it's kind of like, wow, we're waiting around. It's like if you're waiting around and John Fox is the headliner of the show and you're already not having a good time.
And you know what's coming.
Yeah, so
But you can't leave.
It's a John Fox show, so it's going to be a lot of smoke. The smell is going to be bad. You're probably going to be crying at some point.
Yeah, you're not going to get any unexpected joy out of it. But I was standing in the middle of the street taking pictures, and then I hear chants coming up, and then I realize, oh, there's a big, I call them a parade, but just a march of people saying Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter, and then they just went on past and then I was like, yeah, man. And I was like, I'm going to call up my black friends in my phone. And I was like, God damn it, Floyd Phillips is dead. I don't have any black friends. I finally called up Brian Lee over from the Boise Club. And I go, your life matters, motherfucker. I worked with Rodney Carrington, and Rodney Carrington said some pretty fucking racist shit about Brian. And I don't know that I corrected him. So I apologize to Brian.
Brian was still clueless that Rodney said anything.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Said that
No,
shit
he goes,
about
fuck that.
fuck.
I think
Bitch.
Rodney probably let his guard down a little too often.
I don't think anybody would be surprised if Rodney Carrington said some racist shit.
I think they'd be surprised if he had not said
Yeah.
any racist shit.
Yeah.
That's the brand.
Yes.
Yeah. He. Anyway, so yeah, I called
So
Brian.
you wanted to call all of your black friends to let them know that their lives mattered, but all of your black friends were dead.
We've
The one
we've
friend
flown.
phone was the one guy who was dead.
I didn't.
Turns out Andy doesn't have a lot of black friends.
I don't
keep
think
in
I
touch
have
with
a lot
the
of
Pritchett's family. Daryl Lennox went his own. He made such a mess
Daryl
of my
Lennox.
back seat. Yeah,
Daryl's alive.
he's blind, and then he was like, he was stepping on a food bag that was in the back seat of the car, and I guess he
He
was
didn't
real
know it?
nervous. Yeah, he just shredded up shit, and I like, God damn it, man. But I didn't, have a
Well,
fall.
wait a minute. Let's back up on that story a little bit. Daryl Lennox is a very funny guy, good guy, comedian, black guy. He's blind, so now
legally blind.
Well, I
He
mean,
can see
yeah,
a little.
he can see a little bit. That's not
Yeah.
him, by the way.
Oh no,
that's him.
that's Rodney Carrington.
So
Turns
so
out
wait,
he was
let me.
white.
Yes. Well, why is he crying? So to hear Andy tell it, he's in Andy's back seat and he's tearing up a bunch of shit and what's going on. But if you think about it from Daryl's perspective, he's a blind man who's finds himself in the back seat of Andy Andrust's car. And
he's riding with me and Hedberg in the
Yeah,
front,
yeah,
at the front
exactly.
seats. So there,
Yeah.
he was not in any kind of threat. He could have been completely blind and he would have been safe.
Yeah, seems that.
But
it could be
but
kind of
Would have been less scared.
I've
Yeah,
ridden with
well,
you.
this is a complaint about another black guy making a mess in my car. Floyd J. Phillips, I was taking him to he goes, let's go to a movie, and then we get there, and then he goes, I don't have any money, so I paid for Floyd to go to Girl Interrupted.
Oh, what?
Yeah, I know, that was the movie he chose, and we went to go see Girl Interrupted, and he's like, he wanted popcorn, he wanted a full thing.
You took him on a date.
And it was I was up there, it was like an open mic, and it happened to be Martin Luther King Day. So I did that joke, like, now I understand what that free at last means I got to buy everything. But one time Floyd, he goes, give me one of your mints. And I don't like people reaching in, my mints or, and my, it's like germ shit or, anybody. And then he tipped the whole fucking thing over. And then that was it. I mean, he didn't mean to, but he tipped him over and then that was it. And I was driving and it's like, fuck, man, you're not going to pick those up or make any kind of a fucking, fuck no. Like, he was mad, the mint spilled. And I was, but anyway, and the Globetrotters, they didn't stay in touch. Harold Gomez.
This is turning into I tried to call my black friends and tell them their lives mattered to a rant about them fucking up your car a lot, Andy.
Harold Gomez, I hung out with. I liked him a lot in the Seattle competition. But I didn't,
So you're saying the number that you had for Geese Osby was no good anymore?
I couldn't get any air in it.
He gave you a fake number with too few numbers.
I just got a basketball.
Oh shit! There's only 6 numbers in this. Oh man, I can't.
I put Sweet Georgia Brown into my Bluetooth. I put Sweet Georgia Brown into my Bluetooth and started spinning a ball, and nobody showed up. So but I called Brian Lee and apologized for his idea. It was like there was a sign. Silence is murder.
It's good.
And I should have said, hey, Rodney Carrington, Brian isn't what you're saying he is, but he's a lot of other things. And let's find some things that we can call him instead of you just going for the easy, stereotype racist bullshit. But anyway, there's Floyd. And we ran from Floyd. When Floyd was in
that's right.
Yeah. Floyd wanted nothing more than to be on Doug Stanhope's show in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and to have several of his friends comped in to see that show.
Yeah, I remember this story.
Doug hid out from him, or we just didn't.
It was raining.
Yeah. And then there was another black kid. There was another, but anyway, I ran from a black guy thinking it was Floyd. Because I was told not to.
I think that's racist.
Yeah,
Pretty
you
sure
definitely owe
that's
that
racist.
guy an apology.
Yeah, you should have
whoever
called
he
him. That's a good one. Yeah, too bad you didn't have his number.
Floyd was a real fucking pain in the ass. I didn't work with him much. We were kind of like the same thing or whatever. But the people who worked with him, fucking hated. He was just fucking. You were his bitch when you had to drive Floyd around on gigs. You had to wait till he ironed his fucking pants, got his pleats right, got in the car at whatever fucking time Floyd wanted to. Yeah.
Floyd, when I was in Seattle, when I first started up there in 99, 2000, I started doing websites for comics because I worked at Real Networks. So I had a chance to host materials like that. I was building websites, and I met Floyd, and I ended up working with him, like putting a website together for him. I just wanted to do it, and I wanted to do it with something that was interesting to me, which was comedy. But I remember one of the first times I met him. Well, the first time I met him was Chili Dog's hotel gig, where he had it was really bad, right off the freeway in Bellevue. And Floyd J. Phillips gets off stage, and he goes, yeah, here, I'm just going to go to the merch booth. I want to talk to you about that thing. And he's selling CDs, and someone gives him $5 for his CD, and he pulls out a spindle of CDs, and he goes, just take one off the top. He had a 50 spindle.
Hey, that saves on graphic arts, you don't have to worry about it. Covers, jewel cases are expensive, shrink wrap.
Don't sweat the details, man.
Fuck no, man. Good
that
for
night, him. That night in Grand Rapids, it was funny because that gig, it was raining, and Doug just didn't want to interface because it was sold out. We didn't want anything like just trying to squeeze people in and stuff like that. And it was a thing where there was go, door, and then fucking Ocean's 11. We have a small window, people. Anyone falls down, you're on your own.
Yeah, seems more like an episode of The Monkees, frankly, than Ocean's 11.
And I know you didn't mean that, but what sucks about it is
you heard that, buddy.
No,
I was talking about the man.
He's got to call his friends again.
I'm glad you guys are going to get called racist on this podcast. I'm taking this one off.
Talking about Peter Tork. No, Peter Tork.
We were just running when we knocked on the door. But if it's like, it was like, and then Floyd passed away like a 6 months later or something like that. So it's like, well, if he didn't want all those comps, he could have done a guest spot, I guess. But
he was a guy that a lot of people knew coming up. So he had, I think, kidney or liver complications.
Yeah, he always had that. That was his life, kidney failure and kidney shit. I remember the first time I worked with him at Harvey's, and I think how it would work is like the middle or the least experienced guy would do the middle spot. Like, so Floyd was the MC and would do like 25 to 30 up front. And then I do the middle, and then he'd bring up the headliner, and he goes, damn, he goes, if I had your jokes, I would kill, but you just kind of look down at your feet and don't smile or anything. He's kind of right, I guess. I don't think a lot of the stuff I did would have worked for him.
Yeah, maybe not, but that's funny.
Yeah, so, but after I left the riot, because I was bored, quite honestly. I kind of knew what we were all bracing for was to get gassed.
Well, let me ask you this then. So what you saw, the whole thing is that these are violent rioters that are destroying Portland, radical leftists and anarchists are destroying the city. But the people that I know that are up there, I know some people that live there and some people that have been up there. But that's not their story. So you were on the ground.
No, I saw some spray painting and shit like that. But whatever the big, when the big thing happened, after the first of the George Floyd thing, there was a lot of things kicked in that are still, in disrepair.
Yeah.
But all I saw was just kind of, it was just like it was like a Renaissance fair. It's like,
Yeah.
soccer, everybody's chanting, and then
Uh-huh.
but then ultimately everybody was kind of just waiting to get gas. So I was like, I think
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna go because I already had a long drive and I didn't want to have sore eyes, started driving and get tear gas. And so I headed out a little early, and then I was like, shit, if I could find a liquor store, and I found one on my way out of town, and I got a little rum, and I
Uh-huh.
drove to Pacific Beach, which is just about 2 hours away. I got there at 1 in the morning. This beach where you can drive down in the sand at various times with the tide or whatever, but I knew
Uh-huh.
it was a good place to just get and sleep. And then I got there, and
That is a key thing, Andy.
Yeah, you got to know the tides.
I'm
Yeah.
glad you recognize that.
right,
You
I
don't want to
didn't-
be parking in the low tide area when the high tide comes in.
Well, I mean, I experimented in another way because when I got there and then I was like, shit, man, it's so clear. It's like so clear. And I was like, maybe I'll go down and chuck one off into the tide.
Andy, Pacific City.
Yeah, Pacific Beach or Pacific City, I think it is.
Pacific City, yeah.
Yeah. And it's got this huge dune you can climb on this beach, and anyway, so I got there, and there's also a pub there, but everything was closed. But I was standing there and it was so clear. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go, I still wound up from the drive and everything and figure I'll go jerk one off and then go to sleep. And then I saw a big fire going, and I went up there and I was like, hey, who's like, yeah, there it is. And I tried to
Like
spook
you do.
but there was nobody around the fire. So it was like, okay, now it's my fire.
Oh.
And then there were two other little fires, and then I combined all that into one big bonfire for myself. And I drank the rum and looked at the stars and jerked off and smoked.
Nice.
And then I woke
Now
up,
that's
and
the
the
date.
tide was getting a little up there, a little closer to where I didn't intend to sleep down there, but the rum and the edibles put me down there. I was counting stars or whatever, and I was just out. So the tide, it was probably 15 feet from me where it was, 100 feet. So I
Uh-huh.
figured I'd go sleep in the car, and then all the fishermen arrived, and fucking perfect day. I had the kind of day that if you were in love like this,
Yeah.
this would be the day that you look back on. Just like everything was perfect. I got up when I wanted to, and I took my time, and then I went on a hike. It's like it's hard to get down to the lighthouse because the road's blocked now for the park. And then I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna jog down there, and I jogged. I was the only person hanging out at the lighthouse, like the fucking that movie, the fucking dudes. What was that movie it was called The Lighthouse?
The lighthouse.
Yeah.
Yeah, the two in the old in the 1800s.
So I'm
1600s.
hanging out down
Willem
at a lighthouse
Dafoe.
with myself and the
Yeah.
fucking seagulls and shit. And then I ran up there and I'm dicking around. And then there's a private beach down there, and I laid naked for a while. And that was all before like 8 o'clock.
Wait, you laid naked on a private beach?
Yeah.
Well, so you know that when
Sun's
it's
just come
private, that means it's not like it's somebody
Even with
else's
clothes
private
No,
on.
beach.
it's encompassed.
With
It's,
clothes
not
on, you're not
your
supposed to be
it's
there.
encompassed in a state park that nobody can get down to.
I'm sure there's caveats you're going to throw in there, Andy. But when you said it's a private beach, that means something. That word
Yeah.
private means
Yeah, it means you can kind of have your own fun down there. But
for the person who owns the private beach.
and then
You
I
own
went.
it, bro.
Yeah, and then it's like I went to one of our favorite restaurants there in Nye Beach area in Newport, and I ordered a breakfast sandwich, and my car I parked right by the table, so I had I could smoke weed, and then I put on my Todd Snyder concert this morning, and I hung out there for 2 hours and had my thing, and then where did we go from there? Oh, we just went to several parks. Oh, it was so fun, and just the weather was great. And then I went to one of my old favorite campgrounds, and they have yurts in there, and I wanted to use the yurt bathrooms because that's where the handicap. It's all, it's more comfortable for a drifter like me. And here's the thing: is the
Did
showers.
you have to
were-
do some sit down? You had to do some sit down business in the bathroom.
No,
You couldn't
I
just-
still, I think those provincials have helped me out that way. I haven't had to use a public toilet in 48 hours or a toilet.
I think that's good.
But
You need a banana, brother.
Yeah, so hanging out at the lighthouse, jogged back, and then had my breakfast, and then it's just yeah, several beaches. I just stopped on a whim, got out and did my own thing,
That's
and
great, man.
yeah, and then here was kind of a bummer. Right before I was getting ready to head inland, I was like, I want to get some ice cream, and I agreed. Like, yeah, that would be nice. Let's get some ice cream before leaving the coast. And there was a big long line of people, and I agreed that it was like, fuck it, I don't want ice cream. And then I was like, are you sure? I was like, yeah, I don't want ice cream, but everything was just perfect, other than the ice cream. And I would like to go on the second date with myself.
Well, we'll pay for it, as you know, if you'd like to do it.
The Andys are such a cute couple.
Or
I,
you can go out with the person the audience has selected
yeah.
for you. It's
Here,
up to you.
I don't know that this was a highlight, but I was looking at I've been throwing them Playboys in when I go places just because of good reading material, and you can look at new models or whatever.
On your private beach.
But there's these two guys.
Private reading.
There's these two guys who are clamoring on a jetty. Now this is another. I just parked a bunch and I slept a few times. But these two guys who were like, I don't want to shame them because they were a little heavy, but they were a lot heavy to be clamoring on jetty rocks and fishing. So I'm watching that and looking at the Playboy, and I missed it where his leg got all fucked up. But he come down all ginger, and then I saw from a distance that his leg was all fucking wounded.
This is interesting because this is reminiscent of a story you told one other time where you were I think by your house, you were somewhere, and then there was another guy who you saw like on the rocks. Do you remember this story? You went over to him and you saw that he had fallen and he hurt his leg, and you were like, fuck. Am I having a weird deja vu? No one else remembers?
I don't
dream
remember.
about Andy.
Maybe I
How
have.
about Andy walking
I
down on the
helped-
beach with a
I helped a
Playboy?
vet one
Can
time.
we
A
prove
vet
that?
stumbled at a continental breakfast, and I helped right his ship.
It was when you were like, he was fishing or something.
Was it the
He was
eagle?
fishing. It might have been around the eagle time. It doesn't matter. We don't need to stay
That was
focused
the
on it. But
river.
But there was a story where you had to climb up some rocks, and then this other guy was climbing up rocks, and you were high as hell, and then you saw him, and he fell, and you were like, oh, something.
Inman?
No, it definitely wasn't.
That
Inman.
might have been at the river.
I took
with
the
eagle
fucking-
when he found
I
the
took
jacket.
the fucking air out of the story. I apologize. Didn't matter anyway.
Andy, why
I'll
are
find-
you walking on the beach with a fucking Playboy? That is
I
the
don't
fucking
carry it on the beach.
creepiest look.
No, it's just I had a bunch of stuff. I made plans to leave in a hurry, so you grab some Playboys and some ass products.
His bug out bag has KY jelly and 3 old Playboys from the 70s.
Andy's judging fat people for fishing while he's sitting there with Playboys from the 70s like some kind of creep. Just look at fucking naked chicks on your phone, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, there's free porn everywhere.
Yeah, so I mean, I wasn't like thrilling on them, but it was like I parked. That's what I do is like park somewhere where I can smoke weed and listen to music and open the windows.
Imagine
and pretend that's my life.
Imagine if you came up on somebody, you were like a security guard at a beach or something, and you like see a guy sitting in his car in the parking lot for a long
Knock
time.
on the window.
And yeah, you go up and you tap on the window a little bit, and you look down, and he rolls down his window, but you look down, and this motherfucker is actually reading a Playboy from 1983. Like he's reading an interview with Sean Penn as Fast Times at Ridgemont High. 20 questions, 20 questions with the bandit, and he's like, I'm reading this. Yes, officer, what do you need? Like, no, you would not. You could find 10 rapists and 20 serial killers, and none of them would be as weird as the guy you found who was reading a Playboy.
One thing happened today that I think I have to write down.
Yeah, the one thing that's what you put in the journal.
You know what I have noticed though with the Playmates is what happens to them. It's like they're 19 and they're fucking listing their turnoffs and ready for success and shit. And it's like most of them, you read their name, it's like, it's like, what? She seems so full of promise. Oh, fuck. Speaking of which, I took this other road. I was ready to call it good.
Just after the date?
Yeah. we were heading into Florence.
The post-coital glow was
But
happening.
there's this beach I haven't been to. You can just see from the road, and I decided, fuck it, I'll go. I went in and turned around at this horse trails, and then I turned around and I went up this to where this beach was, and I passed the horses. It's like a trail ride, and the lady, it was like fucking Saved by the Bell or something, only hotter and a little more mature. But the trail riding lady, she had her mask on and she was hot as shit. But then there were like three of them. They were all, I don't know if the three were together. There were two, like, that were just like, wow. I mean, I wasn't being a creep or anything, but I just got done looking at Playboy. So I was like, wow, these are natural people. I like, hey, yeah, I like how you girls don't wear too much makeup. But, so then,
did you take a horse? Did you get on a horse?
No. I was just watching them. I was driving by slowly so as not to creep.
Man.
And then I'm
just driving by
going by
so as not to creep them out.
Yeah, I could have scared the
Playboy
horses.
on the passenger seat that they can clearly see from a horse.
But
up high.
And just mouth agape, drooling, driving by, idling at idling speed as they.
Well, it's been a long quarantine for us, but no, I drove by them, and then I would have hung out at the beach if there was something to do, but there was just a lot of horse trailers down there, so I was like, I'm leaving, and then I had to go back by them, and instead of spooking the horses, I just pulled up and stopped and watched them all go by. I didn't notice the blonde at the end. It was like I thought maybe I was watching a Poison video or something. I mean, she was fucking beautiful and had a swimsuit on with Daisy Dukes, and then she had red cowgirl boots, and she went by all slow, and I was like, Jesus! I thought maybe am I on? Am I been dosed? What's going on? The girls I was just looking at in the magazine are now riding by doing their fucking Playboy video. And I'm like, maybe this is, they probably were fucking, regular Coos County fucking hog princesses.
That's when you realize you're still tripping from the LSD Guy gave you that you took the other night. You're like, this whole thing has just been a whole, made up. You're like still tripping balls. Like, oh, the people in the magazine are fucking
I
galloping past you.
Well, that was a pretty special moment. I was like, good thing, good thing I just go to public beaches to jack off while thinking about the ocean.
Oh yeah, we were just thinking the same thing.
You can't, you can't.
My backyard.
Yeah. So, I'm gonna have to go back to that beach though. There's a lot of fucking dunes and shit. My dad would collect. They're called first day covers, but when a new stamp or something would come out and they would put these out, and one time every small post office in Oregon, every fucking sort of zip code put out a first day cover, and that's what we did as a family trip. And hellacious, he was handicapped, and we'd scramble to drive 3 hours.
When your dad was done being a teacher, when he wouldn't teach anymore,
that's what
he got into stamp collecting as a hobby.
He was a hoarder. He collected shit, nothing to resell. Parents, if you're collecting anything, make sure your kids can at least throw it in a box and get $20 for it. Otherwise, you're a fucking asshole. He had these things, and I remember that day we'd go to every post office in Oregon, driving up fucking country roads and shit, so my mom would get out
you hit
with an
every
envelope,
fucking
and then they would stamp it.
Yeah. Oh my god!
And that's what I do now with jerking off. I go to different beaches. I'm making up for a ruined childhood.
Do you still call it first press?
Yeah. It's first pull.
First pull. That
First tug in the morning. Yeah. No, I can't complain about how things. I thought the date moved a little fast, but
everyone's got to have a hobby.
Once the rum came out and we were looking at the stars, he got a little handsy. I realize that's how fucking life is. God damn it. It's like, I mean, right now, of course, I'm somebody who has, special needs or care and it's slow or whatever, but just in general, it's like having another person entails you got to go at a different pace. And I don't like, I realize I should have just like gotten in a relationship with myself. Like
years ago.
yeah, like just that's what I'm whatever monogamous to myself. I just don't want to, it's like I don't want to be bothered.
That's
with stuff.
monogamous, Andy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When
I think that's actually, I think what you're describing is, I mean, it's technically monogamy with yourself, but I mean, it's really just celibacy. That's, I think, what celibacy.
It would be an open relationship, I would think. It would be like
With
the
yourself.
ice cream. It'd be like, hey, is it all right if I fuck this broad? Yeah, go ahead. All right, we agreed. It's all right.
Wait,
into
is
it.
that
Like a
scene
threesome.
jerking off?
Yeah.
Hey,
Can I watch?
Who's the southpaw?
Who's the southpaw? Hey, is celibacy jerking off? Is celibacy no sex, even self gratification?
Yeah, I never wondered about that.
I think nature jacking might be a loophole if you're not.
Andy, the nature jacking is illegal, so that is totally different than what we're talking about celibacy.
Yeah. I think as I'm getting older, it's turned into more of like a wrestling match in the sand anymore. Start out and do more. Like, I need to get a fucking Kama Sutra book for positions in the sand.
Oh fuck. Well, I'm glad you made it out of the protest.
Yeah, as it turns
I
out,
was nervous about you a little bit yesterday.
I mean, I think you have to, like, I could have stayed awake for it, but then I would have been like, fuck, now what do we do? All tear gas and shit. It's just, it just seems like it's a big party, but nobody really, you're all in mask and shit. And, and it's kind of, there's definitely some shit that makes you fucking aware of it. They're broadcasting pictures of victims of police violence, police mishaps, some bad apple mishaps, and shit like that. But it's like, there wasn't even cops around anywhere, and I guess they just locked out tear gas, and then that's the end of the party. So yeah, I think when it gets right down to it, if I was going to be an anarchist, I think that ship sailed 10 years ago, 20 years ago.
Well,
just too
it also seems like in this case, I mean, Trump sent those troops in to try to, rally his base and be like, oh, these crazy leftists are out of control. The cities are out of control, and only I can control them. But they're so like everybody has a camera in their pocket, and everybody's filming everything constantly.
Yeah.
So there's no way for these people to do the shit they really want to do when they show up there in their fucking camo and their outfits and they want to kick some ass. They can't really do it. So now that they've been kind of stopped from doing it, the few videos that they did, some of the shit, it was like poorly, looked upon. So now they're just kind of standing there in a circle around the building, and they don't really have anything to do either. Like they're standing there, everyone else is standing on the other side of the fence. They throw some tear gas, and then the protesters throw the tear gas back, and then they throw the tear gas. It's the whole thing is talk about nature jacking. It's a fucking circle jerk.
It's like when you see a guy like in San Diego, all fucking sun-baked, doing street preaching. It's like, I'm sure you're making some valid points there, but Jesus Christ, it's like fucking
right.
It's all this back and forth and stuff. But and then I was one of the few people. I had a beer. I went and got a beer, and then this other guy saw him with a 6-pack, and I go, "That's far too many people come to these revolutions without any cocktails." He goes, "Yeah, I agree, man. I agree." And
so you guys had openly drinking in the parade of bombs?
Fuck yeah. I was drinking, I was a few blocks away drinking because I didn't want to, be in the fucking quarantine zone sipping beer. But it's like, it was like a fucking rowdy thing. You're like getting ready for a concert that's not going to be a concert. And it's like, it's like, fuck, what do we do? And
you're getting ready for a concert where the band didn't show.
Right. And it's like being on the sideline in
there's been pretty big riots for that.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
It's like when I didn't play in football and I'd stand on the sideline and you didn't want to, like, how are these guys, Is it tough? What's it like? What's it like out there? But I was like, when I wanted to ask people, when do the fucking pigs show up with the tear gas? Because I got to get over the coast. And,
I got a date with myself.
yeah, if I'd have known, I mean, everything just worked out. The mini mart with the liquor was closing in 15 minutes, and I got there, and I got there, and then somebody just bailed on their big fire, and shit, yeah.
Alright.
But maybe I can't live up to that. Maybe next time I go out with myself, it'll just be real clunky, and I'll try to force myself to,
But don't overthink it, Andy, because he might be thinking the same thing, and you guys maybe just let it flow. I think you guys are a real good couple, but you got to let.
I was laying
Destiny
in a little sand dune. I think this is in the Newport Beach, up in the sand dunes. And then when I got up, and then I saw a couple getting up because there was nobody around in these things, and then I saw a couple get up from theirs, and they were like, I was thinking maybe it's like hee haw. It's like these little sand things, like everybody's nature jacking or up there humping up in these things, and you just don't know
How
it.
is that like yeehaw?
I was gonna say, what do you mean? Like they're gonna pop up out of the
Salute.
corn and do a jump?
Yeah, like you don't think anybody's around, and then if you stood there long
Salute.
enough, you'll see people just stand up and get up. So what are they laying down for? I did it because I was exhausted. Exhausted from jacking myself into a rum frenzy.
Jacking myself into a rum frenzy.
I think you were actually more like rumming yourself into a jack frenzy, but
Totally.
Well, I pirated immediately. I took over the fire, and then I immediately took over the other fires. So that's a pretty pirate move there on the fucking empty.
Yeah. So there were no people there. There
was one
still
other
fires?
bonfire, and then when
That would freak me out.
when I was moving around in the morning, there was a bonfire
So
going.
they just left the fires burning. They didn't put them out.
Yeah,
I mean,
but I think it's because of the tide comes up there.
They just let
Andy,
them.
did you just fall asleep in somebody's camp? Was there like a tent 8 feet behind you where people were sleeping and you just jerked off?
They thought a bear came by their camp.
There's a guy jerking off by our campfire.
I mean, the only way
they were like,
what was that Rowdy Piper movie? That's the only way they'd see me as like Predator. They'd have to use
the one with the eye with the sunglasses.
Yeah,
I mean, sunglasses.
They
live.
I mean, before I even got back to the fire, I probably walked a mile in Jack. It's about it's not about the arrival. It's about the trip.
It's the journey.
It's a journey. And then the cover of darkness.
You need to move. You seem like you're trying to not sit in the brightest ray of sunshine.
And it's just right around his face. That's
Totally.
It's and he got the opposite of a ring light. He's just got a spotlight blasting him in the face.
Trying to plow through it, man.
We can hear you when you're in the sun.
We could probably wrap it up anyway.
I'm glad you're all right too.
I am too. I was nervous when you were headed up.
I saw a picture of somebody in a face mask with a Hello Kitty helmet and a hockey stick whacking smoke bombs, and I was like, oh, I wonder if Andy is nearby that tomfoolery and fun.
Yeah.
I parked so far away that I couldn't get to my props. And I figured it was better to be about 10 blocks away from what I heard,
Uh-huh. Yeah, I'm about 10 blocks away from your microphone right now.
Oh, Jesus. There we go.
just keep sliding down a little bit, but you're
bring the
completely
camera
out of
down
frame
and just keep
with the podcast. We're almost there.
And it's just the sun just needs to move like 2 inches, and it's done.
Just another couple minutes, man. When we come back on Patreon, that sun will not be a problem. That is my prediction.
Yeah, I think I can get it fixed.
Well, it'll fix itself.
Well, wait, the sun will get it fixed.
Yeah, it'll fix it.
Nature has a way of working it out, Andy.
I'm in tune
You're
with
the
the
human
planet.
sundial.
The planet's telling me that it'll disappear and it'll be fine.
It'll all go away.
Yep.
No problem at all.
Yeah. I watched also watched surfing today. There was a big group down below me surfing at a
Yeah.
spot. And it
Nice.
seems like there's
Oregon?
well, man, it does. I guess you really just got to be into it, but it doesn't seem like it'd be that much fun because it looks like 90% of the times when they try to catch a wave, it fizzles out.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Well,
Yeah.
I surfed for
Kind of
about
like
9
watching
years.
this podcast.
Yeah.
Well,
It's not.
Not every ride is a tube ride to the beach where you
Yeah.
jump off and then go steal a bonfire and jerk
But-
off with some.
I didn't
But
steal
you're
the
but you're
bonfire.
cool
It was
for
left to
but
me.
you're cool for trying, even if it
Yeah.
doesn't, even if this show doesn't deliver like you hoped. You're a cool dude for even fucking checking us
just
out,
paddle
man.
out. You've done something.
Man. You're in the
others-
you're in the group of cool kids already.
When I'm
it's
hanging
like
when I
Andy
hang out
said,
at the beach, people think I'm a surfer
Yeah.
because
I think people think you're a cop.
Yeah, well, they think I'm a
Or
surf.
street.
They think I'm posing as a surfer because I'm a cop.
Right.
Ah, it's Point Break.
And they're like, yeah, let's see you surf then, dude. Let's see you actually surf. And now Andy's finds himself in a situation where he has to learn to surf immediately.
Andy's in a
Look at
Keanu
his
Reeves movie.
They know I was a quarterback that threw a game.
Yeah. Oh
But
shit! All
By
right,
they, do you mean that kid Malachi that you told bullshit stories to?
totally.
I think everything Malachi has grown up with is bullshit, and I gave him 10 minutes of corrective.
Yeah, he's got a lot to think about. He's still thinking about that night for
He won't
sure.
do anything, but
Every time he goes to Red Lobster and has fucking crabs, he's gonna be like, "Oh, I remember this guy. He gave me some fucking knowledge."
He was
This
the
guy
left
gave me
hand.
Old bear crab, and
I was the right hand glove, and he was the left hand glove, and we were together.
Oh,
We were the
really?
crabbing team.
That's
Yeah,
good.
he wouldn't let go. He had my glove, and I go, well, I go, nobody's, or I said most people aren't left-handed, and he goes, I am, and I was like, oh, well, shit, I almost gave it to him, but then I was like, fuck, what am I gonna do? You know, one glove.
how can you handle crabs with one glove?
I know.
Yeah.
I know. Well, it wasn't ideal. You know, like when the little kid wants to be your sidekick.
Not at all.
If I was
Oh,
Malachi's dad, I would have said, give me that glove and stand over there.
I'm
Clean up
I'm
my dog
scared
shit.
that I'm scared that this kid idolized Andy to the point that he wanted to take his
Yeah.
left glove as a memento of their time together crabbing.
I remember it, yeah.
that kid's gonna have an amazing podcast in 20 years.
Yeah. The crabbing kid.
A kid crab.
Kid crab.
Kid Crab Malachi. They call me left
Uh,
at the
I'm gonna go make a drink, and I think you guys should do the same. So, if you want to send Andy some money or send him some presents, right there is his address and his Venmo address, and we like it when you do that. Andy works hard for the show, and if you want to send him a little bit of cash, you can, because we don't pay him.
An umbrella or something.
Yeah, maybe umbrella money. And so that's right there. You can do that. And our friend Chad Shank has a Twitch channel that you should subscribe to. Watch him play video games. It's a lot of fun. Him and his dumb friends, they get drunk and high and they play video games poorly. And then they cuss and they have fun. And you can do that. So just go to Chad's Twitter page, and the pinned tweet has the link to take you right to the subscription. It's very, very simple to do. And Chad would appreciate that very much, I'm sure. And what we're going to do is make a drink and regroup on the other side at the Issues with Andy after party. It's on Patreon. It's only $5 a month. And after we do every one of these that you get for free, we go over to the Patreon and we kind of wrap it up and do what I think in yoga they call it the cool down. We do a cool down sesh. And it's it's a lot of fun. So if you would like to be included in that, that's a great explanation.
I'll give you
You
a
guys
better
didn't-
one.
Neither of you two fucking assholes
Chad's
have
got
never
one.
done yoga. So
Yes, I have.
Sometimes we do one of these exact same things, but better. Check it out over on
We're not
Patreon.
cooling
That is
down,
a
we're
better-
ramping up.
that is a better description. That is a much better description of what happens over there. You are correct. So join us over there if you'd like to. $5 a month on Patreon for tons and tons of content, and you can be a wonderful Issues with Andy Patreon, and we would love to have you there. So that's where we're going to go right now. We'll see you later.
care.
Bye, guys.
Hey, if I could do it like this, that would work.
There you go.
Yeah,
Move your mic.
good, but back might hurt.
I'm gonna try something new in this next hour.